بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وَكُلَّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ وَكُلَّ ضَلَالَةٍ فِي النَّارِ. As we mentioned, Ikhwani, in the Dars al-Sabiq, we want to begin the explanation of the Hadith of Jibreel, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. And I mentioned before as well that recently I went to make the Umrah, and while being there in Al-Madinah, I had an opportunity once again to meet our Shaykh and the Shaykh al-Islam, Abu Abdul Razak, Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad, Hafidhullah Ta'ala. And when I had the audience with the Shaykh, I asked him for some advice as to what are some of the durus that he feels we should teach the communities here in England that we're dealing with. The Shaykh, he advised in this masjid in particular, after getting the description of the masjid and the Ahlul Masjid, he said, I want to give you this gift, this book here that he authored only a few months ago, last year, the sharh or the explanation of the Hadith of Jibreel. So I told him, Shaykh, I know the importance of the Hadith, but why this in particular? We have so many other kutub that could be studied and taught. Why this particular one? He said, in light of the fitna that has been going on between the ikhwa khasatan, especially those who are connected and trying to be upon the way of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, he said that he feels that many of the shabab, many of the Muslims have turned away from being serious as it relates to being tulabul ilm, number one, and that they become preoccupied with qila wa qal. He said this, she said that, he's this, they're that. He said, so I, meaning the Shaykh, I authored this book while the fitna was going on in the hopes that the people would read the book and they would preoccupy themselves with the ilm al-nafi' that comes as a result of this tremendous hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and this tremendous incident that took place. So I made the istihsan of the kalam of the Shaykh. I thought it was a good idea, especially in light of the fact that the ulama of al-Islam, past and present, have taken this hadith and they paid close attention to this particular hadith, to the point that al-Imam Ibn Daqiq al-Eid, rahimahullah ta'ala, who was from the students of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, one of the many students, Ibn Daqiq al-Eid al-Hanbali, he said about this particular hadith, rahimahullah ta'ala, إذا كانت سورة الفاتحة تعتبر القرآن فينبغي أن يعتبر هذا الحديث للسنة. He said, if Surah Al-Fatiha is considered to be the mother of the Quran, al-Quran, and it is the a'zam and the greatest surah of the Quran, if you want to do the ruqya upon yourself, read Surah Al-Fatiha. It is the al-Quran and the sab'a mathani, the 7 oft repeated verses that were given to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No Nabi, no Rasul, but before him was given the likes of it. Ibn Daqiq al-Eid said, if Surah Al-Fatiha is the of the Quran, then this hadith of Jibreel should be considered to be the of the Sunnah. So the scholars, as I mentioned previously, they paid attention to this. There's a scholar in Islam, everyone has heard about him, especially if you do a little reading, by the name of Al-Qadi Iyad, the scholar of the Maliki Madhab. Tremendous books in Al-Islam. He wrote a book, he dedicated that book to the explanation of this hadith. He called it Al-Maqasid Al-Hassan Fima Yalzimu Al-Insan. Those issues that are pertinent for the individual to come to know. Those issues that are pertinent that the Muslim has to come to know about. So he explained in detail the benefits of this particular hadith. And after him we have Al-Imam Ibn Rajab Al-Hanbali in the book that he explained, the 40 hadith of Al-Imam Al-Nawawi, Jami' Al-Ulum Wal-Hikam, did a tremendous job in explaining the hadith in detail and how we understand the hadith. So the point, ikhwan, is that the ulama of al-Islam, past and present, Shaykh Abdul Muhsin Al-Abbad, Hafidhahullah, he is not the first to pay attention to this hadith. He's just coming in the long line and the long succession of people of knowledge who wanted the ummah of al-Islam to know about the fawaid and the hikam, the benefits and the knowledge and the wisdom that is contained in this hadith, which is the Sunnah, the hadith that is considered to be the mother of the Sunnah. Al-Imam Muslim, rahimahullah ta'ala, narrated this hadith. He collected it in its longest version and its most complete version on the authority of Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu. Almost every book of hadith, you will find this hadith in it. Almost every book of hadith, you will find the scholars have brought this particular hadith. Al-Imam Al-Bukhari also collected this hadith. It's hadith number 50 in Sahih Bukhari. But he collected it on the authority of Abu Huraira and not on the authority of Abdullah Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu. And the hadith in Sahih Muslim is longer, more complete. And that's the one we're going to deal with, because that's what the Shaykh dealt with. Because again, because it is longer and it's more complete, the benefits are obviously more. Al-Imam Muslim brought his chain of narration, rahimahullah ta'ala, up until the Tabi'i, whose name is Yahya ibn Ya'mur. Yahya ibn Ya'mur قال كان أول من قال في القدر بالبصرة معبد الجهني فانطلقت أنا وحميد بن عبد الرحمن الحمر حاجين أو معتمرين فقلنا لو لقينا أحدا من أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فسألناه عما يقول هؤلاء في القدر فوفق لنا عبد الله بن عمر ابن الخطاب رضي الله عنهما داخل المسجد فاقتنفته لنا أنا وصاحبي أحدنا عن يمينه والآخر عن شماله فظننت أن صاحبي سيكل الكلام إلي فقلت أبا عبد الرحمن إنه قد ظهر قبلنا ناس يقرؤون القرآن ويتقفرون العلم وذكر له أشياء من أمرهم وأنهم يزعمون أن لا قدر وأن الأمر أنف. قال عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله عنهما إذا لقيت هؤلاء فأخبرهم أني بريء منهم وهم براء مني وأني سمعت أبي عمر بن الخطاب يقول وهذا الذي يحلف به عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله عنهما. قال عمر بينما نحن جلوس عند رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذات يوم إذ طلع علينا رجل شديد بياض الثياب شديد سواد الشعر لا يرى عليه أثر السفر ولا يعرفه منا أحد حتى جلس إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فأسند ركبتيه إلى ركبتيه ووضع يديه على فخذيه فقال يا محمد أخبرني عن الإسلام. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الإسلام أن تشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا رسول الله وتقيم الصلاة وتؤتي الزكاة وتصوم رمضان وتحج البيت إن استطعت إليه سبيلا. قال السائل صدقت. قال عمر فعجبنا له يسأله ثم يصدقه. قال فاخبرني عن الإيمان. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن تؤمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسوله واليوم الآخر وتؤمن بالقدر خيره وشره. قال السائل صدقت. فأخبرني عن الإحسان. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه وإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. قال صدقت. قال أخبرني عن الساعة. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما المسؤول عنها بأعلم من السائل. قال فأخبرني عن أماراتها. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم أن تلد الأمة ربتها وأن ترى الحفاة العالة رعاء الشاة يتطاولون في البنيان. ثم انصرف. قال عمر رضي الله عنه فلبثت مليا ثم قال لي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يا عمر أتدري من السائل؟ قال الله ورسوله أعلم. قال إنه جبريل أتى ليعلمكم دينكم. This tabi'i by the name of Yahya ibn Ya'mur rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, once I went to perform the Hajj or the Umrah, and I was with a companion of mine by the name of Ibn Abdurrahman al-Himr. Ibn Abdurrahman al-Himr. So we said and we knew that the first people who begin to talk about the issue of the qadr, the divine decree, the fact that you don't know and Allah doesn't know, no one knows what's going to happen until it happens. He said the first person who started to talk about this innovation was Ma'bad al-Juhani. He was from Basra and he began to tell the Muslims about this issue, this concept, which was a deviation in Islam. So he, along with his companion, they went to Hajj or to Umrah, and they said, hopefully we'll be able to meet one of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah gave them the tawfiq, and they met Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab when he was entering into the masjid. So one of them got on the right side of Abdullah ibn Umar, and the other one got on the left side. Yahya ibn Ya'mur, he said, I felt and I sensed that my companion was going to leave it up to me to do the talking. So I said, Ya Aba Abdurrahman, oh Abu Abdurrahman, Umar, Abdullah bin Umar. His kunya is Abu Abdurrahman. He said, we have left a group of people where we come from back in Basra. They read the Quran. They're students of knowledge. They memorize the Quran. They're tulabul ilm. They're not just the regular Muslims who work and they don't do nothing, anything except they work. The only thing to them is eating, khubz, drinking and going to sleep and being with their wives. No, these people were tulab al-ilm, memorize the Quran and they study about this deen. They didn't want to be ignorant. And these people, they deny the divine decree. They are denying this issue. And they said that the affair was that Allah doesn't know what's going to happen until it happens. What do you have to say about this? Is this correct? Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu said, I swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala verily I am free of those people and they are free of me. I'm free of them and they're free of me, as long as they have this concept. And I heard my father Umar radiallahu anhu say that a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his clothes were exceedingly white. I witnessed this. My father told me that he witnessed that a man came to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his clothes were exceedingly white and his hair was exceedingly black. His clothes were well kept, well maintained, and he presented himself in a beautiful fashion. And his hair was well kept, exceedingly black and taken care of. But none of us knew who the man was. We didn't know who he was, nor did he look like he was a traveler. So it was a problem. If he was a traveler, his clothing would have reflected that. His hair would have reflected that. The way he looked. I came from Keithley. We went to a brother's home to eat, and now we're here. I feel traveling from Keithley to here is reflected in the way that I look. It's definitely how I feel. The man's clothes was looking nice and his appearance. So it didn't seem as if he was a traveler. But at the same time, he's a stranger. No one in the majlis knows this individual. We have strangers in our majlis right now. If you look around, you'll say, this person has come to the masjid for the first time ever. He's never been here. That's how it was. So what is the situation here? So that man came and he sat next to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He put his knees directly to the knees of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he put his hands on the thighs of Rasulullah sallallahu wasallamu alayhi. He said, Ya Muhammad. Another strange aspect. People did not call him out like that. They did not call his name like that. Ya Muhammad, tell me, what is Islam? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Al-Islam is that you bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship but Allah. That out of all of the gods that the people have created and manifested for themselves, none of them deserve to be worshipped. I did not plan on mentioning this, but I think it's appropriate. Ikhwan, yesterday, I went to Nelson to meet a group of Mormons. The Mormons are a group of muwahideen from the Christians in America. Their youth traveled all over the world in order to spread their dawah. They dedicate 2 years. He doesn't get married and he lives like a Sufi. And he spreads his dawah. I went to a restaurant to meet them. They showed me a new Bible, the Bible of the Mormons. In the Bible, when I opened it, it had a picture of Jesus Christ, a Caucasian man. They had a pamphlet inside of the Mormon Bible. I opened it up, took the pamphlet out. Another white man in the sky with his hands out like this with a thobe on. I asked, who is this? He said, that's God, the Father. I asked him, whose interpretation of that is it, this Jesus picture and God the Father? Whose interpretation? Who wrote that? He said, it's just the artist, but God really looked like this and Jesus really looked like that. I told him I don't really believe in the Bible, that I believe it's been tampered with and that can be proven, but the description of Jesus in the Bible is not like that. But I can see the interpretation of an artist taking liberties and drawing that. But God Almighty, looking like a Caucasian, looking like a white man, who has the right to say and to do such a thing? Who has a right? What is Islam, Muhammad? To bear witness that there's no God worthy of worship. No white man, no black man, no animal, no Shams, no Qamar, no Ra. No one has the right to be worshipped except the supreme creator, who is not the author of that confusion. And to bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, the last prophet and messenger, who the Muslims do not worship, but he is the last prophet and messenger who was sent in the long line and succession of Anbiya and Rasul, prophets and messenger. And that you pray 5 times a day, and that you fast, give zakat, you fast in the month of Ramadan, and you make the hajj if you have the ability. The man said, you've spoken the truth. Umar, the narrator of the hadith, said, we thought it was strange that he would ask Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam the question and then say, you spoke the truth. After that he said, now tell me, Ya Muhammad, what is faith? What is al-iman? Rasulullah told him sallallahu alaihi wasallam that you believe in Allah and that you believe in the angels that Allah has created, and they are many, and that you believe in the books that Allah has sent down to his prophets to give and to read to mankind the laws and the legislations of what's right and what's wrong, and that you believe in those messengers who came, and that you believe in the last day, that there's going to come a day everyone is going to be raised up and questioned for what he did in this life, and that you believe in the qadr, the divine decree, that everything has been written and decreed before it happened. He said you spoke the truth. Now tell me, what is ihsan? What is ihsan? He said al-ihsan is that you worship Allah as though you see him, and even though you don't see Allah, know for surely Allah sees you. After that the questioner asked, now tell me about the hour. When will the hour be established? Ya Muhammad, you are the best of Allah's creation. Allah loves you more than everyone else. You're the last Nabi and the last Rasul. You have a dua that is mustajab inda Allah. Your ummah is the best ummah. Tell us, when is the Yawmul Qiyamah? When is the hour going to be established? He says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one who is being questioned, me, he knows just as much as its reality as the one who's doing the questioning. You and I are the same in that issue. The knowledge of that is only with Allah. No one shares with that knowledge with Allah Azza wa Jalla. So the questioner asks, then tell me, what are some of the signs of the hour? At least tell me that. Rasulullah says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that you see the slave girl giving birth to her master, and that you see the barefooted, naked, poor herders of sheep competing with each other in the structure and the building of lofty buildings. So the questioner got up and he left. Umar said, I remained in my spot for a while, and then Rasulullah said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Umar, do you know who the questioner was? Do you know who that individual was who came? Umar said, Allah and his messenger know best. I don't know who he was. Rasulullah said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was Jibreel. He came to teach you your religion. That was Jibreel. And there are a lot of variations and narrations to this hadith. One narration said that Rasulullah told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hey, go and look for that man and bring him back. When they went to look for him, they found that he disappeared. He was nowhere to be found. There was a plain where they would have seen him walking through the plain, but no one saw where did he go. So they came back and said, Ya Rasulullah, we didn't see the man, we didn't find the man. Then he told them that was Jibreel. That's something that we believe, ikhwan. There are some people who, they say, look at this religion of Islam. How can you believe the man just disappeared? Hocus pocus. There are some things we just believe. But there are other things like the contradictions that if they were in the religion of Islam, we would reject Islam. If there were those contradictions in it. Those things that when people tell us he's a prophet and he's a prophet, and when we look in his personal life, we find that he broke his wife's nose when he used to drink in the pub, and now he's a prophet. And we find that he's claiming to be a prophet and he's stealing the people's money right now. They're accusing him of embezzlement, as what happened with the Mormon. He was telling me that there were prophets who came after Jesus and they made khamr halal and khinzir halal against the Bible. Who made them prophets? God came to them. No, we're not going to believe that, because we saw the program where they exposed that prophet for embezzlement. Right now, he's going to go to jail for stealing your money. And this one over here broke his wife's nose when he was in the pub and he broke his. We don't believe those kind of contradictions. So that's the hadith of Jibreel salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. And in this hadith, ikhwan, as I mentioned, the Shaykh Abdul Muhsin brought a number of fawaid, a number of benefits. And what I'm going to present to you here today, inshallah, and next week, and maybe the week following that, bi-idhnillah, wallahu alam, is simply what the Shaykh brought in his book in teaching the people the benefits of this hadith, which is considered to be the of the Sunnah. One of the most important hadith of the Sunnah that the scholars of Al-Islam used to take great pains in explaining. And as I mentioned, in so many of their books, they will use this hadith along with a few other hadith that are extremely important. Al-Imam Ahmed, Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i, Al-Imam Ishaq ibn Ibrahim Rahuwiya. Those people are tremendous scholars in Al-Islam. They said that the religion of Al-Islam revolves around 3 ahadith. They are the most important ahadith in the religion that you should take the time out to read to your mother, your daughter, your wife, and your sons. They should hear these hadith when they're small, as opposed to being exposed and introduced to the TV programs that are for idiots. The child, he knows Simpson, and he knows all of the characters on Simpson, and he knows what that's all about, in and out. But you ask them, what is the hadith of Jibreel? He doesn't have an idea. So it's the responsibility of the father to take his son and to read the hadith of Jibreel. Concerning this hadith and the hadith, that is another important one, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Verily the deen is based upon your niyyah. All of your actions, our actions are based upon the niyyah. The scholars used to take these hadith and explain them in detail. Al-Imam Muslim, for an example, as I mentioned, he started his book off. We have the most authentic book in the dunya is the Book of Allah. And then after the Quran, Sahih Bukhari. And then Sahih Muslim. Al-Imam Muslim started his book off with this hadith. Al-Imam Al-Baghawi in his book Sharh As-Sunnah, tremendous book in Al-Islam, book of fiqh, aqidah, tafsir, raqa'iq, fitan. He started his book off with the hadith إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, and then the second hadith is the hadith of Jibril. The second hadith is the hadith of Jibril because of its importance. That's how the ulama used to pay attention to these hadith. They would explain them in hadith, books by themselves, or they would start their books off with these hadith, showing the ummah of al-Islam. You people are upon the correct fitrah, the correct deen. If you find in the homes of the Muslims, these hadith are in the first and the beginning of most of our books, we should take heed of that. The ahadith are important. Al-Imam Al-Bukhari, he started his book off with إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. The first chapter, Ikhwan, in Sahih Bukhari is the chapter Kitab Badl al-Wahy, how the revelation started. How did the revelation come to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Al-Imam Al-Bukhari brought this hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. The actions are based upon the intent. What does that have to do with the revelation and how it started? It has nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing. The ulama, they tried to figure it out because Al-Imam Al-Bukhari, his intellect was not a normal intellect. He was an abqari, a genius, a faqih. So you don't always know what he's trying to prove. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Like in this issue. Why did he start this chapter with إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ? Al-Imam Ibn Hajar and other ulama, they looked at the hadith and they looked at the chain of narration. Al-Imam Al-Bukhari, his shaykh, the one who told him the hadith إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, his name is Abdullah ibn Zubair al-Humaydi. He told Al-Imam Bukhari that Sufyan told him. And that's all it says is Sufyan. Anytime you read Sahih Bukhari, for those of you who read Arabic and you read the chain of narration, if Al-Imam Al-Bukhari just says Sufyan without mentioning which Sufyan, it's always Sufyan ibn Uyayna. Always. If it's Sufyan al-Thawri or other than him, he's going to mention his name completely. So Al-Humaydi, the Shaykh al-Bukhari said that Sufyan told him, that Yahya ibn Sa'id told him, that Muhammad ibn Ibrahim at-Taymi told him, that Alqamah ibn Waqqas told him, that Umar radiyallahu anhu said, that Rasulullah said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. The ulama said, look at this chain of narration. All of those ulama were from the people of Mecca. Al-Imam al-Humaydi was the scholar of Mecca. Al-Imam Sufyan ibn Uyayna, even though he's from Al-Iraq, from Al-Kufa, from Basra, he came and he became famous in Mecca. It was in Mecca that Al-Imam al-Shafi took all of the knowledge from him. And his sheikh was Mecca, Mecca, Mecca. So they said it was Bukhari's way of starting the hadith and the book because his shuyukh were from Mecca. But the majority of the people said no. Al-Bukhari simply put this hadith there for the barakah of the hadith. That's all. For the tremendous position of the hadith in al-Islam. Nothing else, for the barakah of the hadith. And as if he's saying, I start this hadith off with the correct niyyah. There's a scholar you should be aware of, ikhwan. His name is Abdurrahman ibn Mahdi. He's Amir al-Mu'mineen fil hadith. He said, من أراد أن يصنف كتابا ينبغي أن يبدأ بهذا الحديث إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Al-Imam Abdurrahman ibn Mahdi said, anyone who wants to write a book in al-Islam, you should start your book off, no matter what the subject matter is, by putting this hadith. Verily, the deeds will be judged by the intention. Showing the importance of the hadith, the importance of the niyyah. So we ask Allah Ta'ala here in this majlis, that Allah rectifies and purifies our niyat and our ibadat. All of our ibadat, whether it is the salat that we pray, whether it is the durus that we give or that we receive, whether it is the sadaqah, the things that we do. For verily, ikhwan, one of the most difficult things to make jihad against is your nafs and making your niyyah lillahi wahdahu la sharika lah. How many people work so that it would be said, Fulan did this and Fulan did that, and Allah will throw it back on you, Yawm al-Qiyam. And for that reason, the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, pay attention, ikhwan. Don't look at me, don't look at the next guy and say, oh, maybe it's his niyyah, maybe he's up there so that people can look at me. You look at yourself. Mahmud ibn Labid, radiyallahu anhu, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أخوف ما أكون على أمتي من الشرك الأصغر. قيل وما الشرك الأصغر يا رسول الله؟ قال الرياء. Rasulullah said, the thing that I fear the most for you people, I fear it more than anything, is the minor shirk, the shirk al-asghar. They said, what is the shirk al-asghar? He said, ar-riya. Most people fall into it. So we ask Allah by His Ism al-A'zam to give us al-ikhlas in all of our ibadat in every shape, form, or fashion, that which is inner or outer. From the benefits and the issues of importance as it relates to the hadith of Jibreel salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi is that it shows that the fitna of denying the qadr is a serious issue, and it began during the time of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, during the life of Abdullah ibn Umar, who died in the year 73 after the Hijrah. So it happened during the time that the companions were around, and that shows the misdaq and the truthfulness of the statement when the Prophet told his companions, whoever from amongst you lives for a long time, you're going to see a lot of ikhtilaf. You're going to see issues that I did not bring. The same thing that happened to the Jews and the Christians when they introduced in their religion that which Moses did not bring, that which Jesus did not bring, is going to happen to you people. So this bid'ah, this fitna was introduced, and it came from a place that the Prophet used to warn the people about. A place that's a place of fitna right now. And that is the area that is known today as Al-Iraq. Al-Iraq. Rasulullah made dua in front of the people, Allahumma barak Madinatana. Oh Allah, bless our city, Al-Madinah. The people said, what about our Najd? He said it again, bless our Medina. They said, what about our Najd? He said it a third time. Bless our Medina. The people said, what about our Najd? He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, هُنَالِكَ تَظْهَرَ الْفِتَنِ وَالزَّلَازِلِ. That's the area where the fitna is going to come from, and the earthquakes. Real physical earthquakes. Also the quakes and the shakes that are going to cause serious problems in this religion. Almost every single dangerous innovation and innovative group came from that area. Iraq, from Basra, from that area, Kufa. The Khawarij, those people who were dealing with their fitna today. They don't like what's going on, so they go and they blow up innocent people. That started out there during the time of the companions. The Shia cursing the companions of Rasulullah started out there. The Murji'ah started out there. The Qadariyah started out there. The Jabariyah started out there. The vast majority of innovations that have crept into this ummah came from that area. Calling on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came from that area of Persia when the people started doing this, and then it became widespread in our ummah today. So the hadith, it shows again, ikhwan, if during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's companions, if there's going to be fitna like this and innovations, then clearly they're going to be even more during the time when we don't have the people of the level of knowledge and esteem as those companions. وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ إِلَّا مِنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ. They will not cease to be in discord and differences except those who your Lord has mercy upon. It is natural that the human beings are going to fall into this. The second point that the Shaykh brought, a tremendous point, and you're getting benefit from the second point right now, is that he said, this hadith shows the importance of the Muslim going to Mecca or going to Medina to make Hajj or Umrah. And when he goes, he makes it his business to go to the people of knowledge. In Mecca and Medina, there are ibadat that only can be done over there. Going around the Kaaba, making tawaf. Every right step is a good deed, every left step a bad deed taken off. Kissing the black stone. Making the sa'i between Safa and Marwa. What goes on in Mina and Muzdalifah and Arafah. Being freed from the Jahannam because of the standing at Arafah. 100,000 prayers for one prayer in Mecca, 1,000 in Medina. Making wudu in your room, your hotel room, or in your home, and then going to Masjid Quba, and you get the reward of making Umrah. Ibadat that only can be done over there. So the Muslim gets an opportunity. He just went last year, he has extra money, goes again. He makes it his business to try to get over there. And from the ibadat that are only over there is the fact that Allah, from the hikmah that is with him, He has seen fit to make that place a place that is abundant with ulama of al-Islam. They had a program on recently, and one of these experts from Saudi Arabia, he was one of the kibar ulama according to this program. He cut his beard off, and they only showed him in the dark, and they called him Saleh, and he's a former Wahhabi. He was Wahhabi, now he left Wahhabism. So he was talking on the media telling how Wahhabism is wrong and how the Muslims are going overboard. We've never seen ulama like that in that place. Not that they have the best ulama in the dunya and the only ulama. We're not saying that. But that is a place that only the ignorant or the arrogant will deny. The ulama of al-Islam are located in that place right now. So when you go to Hajj, when you go to Umrah, you make it your business as the Tabi'un did here. The Tabi'in, Yahya ibn Ya'mar, Ibn Abdurrahman al-Himar, they went and they hooked up with the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the people of knowledge. In Sahih Muslim, there's another incident that's similar to this. How the Tabi'un used to benefit from the companions. How they used to refer the affairs about al-Iman and Aqidah back to the companions. How it's our responsibility We refer the affairs back to those who have knowledge from amongst us. And Imam Bukhari al-Muslim, he brought the narration of a man by the name of Yazid ibn Faqir. He said, كنت شغفني رأي من آراء الخوارج وأردت أن أخرج على الناس مع مجموعة من الناس ذهبنا مع بعض إلى الحج فالتقينا بجابر بن عبد الله رضي الله عنه يدرس ويحدث الناس في مسجد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. This man, Yazid ibn Faqir, Yazid al-Faqir, he said, I was convinced about the position and the statement of the Khawarij, those people who make takfir of the Muslims because they fall into the major sins. The Muslim, he falls into a major sin of leaving salah, drinking khamr. He does something major. He's having illicit relationships. These people believe you have no hope, you're going to the hellfire. That's it, and you're never coming out. Yazid al-Faqir said, I was with a group of these people from the Khawarij and we went out to make the Hajj. And we intended after the Hajj to come out and make ourselves known to the people, our dawah and our jama'ah. But when I went to Medina, I met Jabir ibn Abdullah. Jabir ibn Abdullah was in the masjid teaching the people the religion. So he was talking to the people about a group of people from the Muslims called the Jahannamiyin, from Jahannam. Al-Jahannamiyun. They are the people from our community, from our ummah who died committing major crimes. He died committing adultery. He's having relations with someone who's haram for him or for her. He died not making the salah. He died never ever having made the fast of Ramadan. He died and he had money to make Hajj, but he never made it. He had the ability, but he was negligent. Intentionally, he didn't make it. But he believed in the Hajj. He was just from the abna of the dunya. So Jabir bin Abdullah was telling about the Jahannamiyin. This man who feels that the Muslim who dies doing a kabira from the kaba'ir will remain in the hellfire. That's the Khawarij. He heard Jabir bin Abdullah speaking and he asked him, what are you talking about? What are you telling the people these things for? When Allah said in the Quran, the dua of the believers, رَبَّنَا إِنَّكَ مَن تُدْخِلَ النَّارَ فَقَدْ أَغْزَيْتَهُ وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ. Oh our Lord, the one who you caused to go into the hellfire, you have given him the khizn. You have made him low and abased. You have embarrassed him to the final degree. So how are you saying that these people are going to come out of the Jahannam when Allah said in the Quran that the one you put in the hellfire, you have debased him? And he used another ayah against the companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. كلما أرادوا أن يخرجوا منها أعيدوا فيها وقيل لهم ذوقوا عذاب النار الذي كنتم به تكذبون. Every time the people of the Jahannam want to come out, they will be caused to go back in, and it will be said to them, taste the punishment of the fire that you used to deny. You didn't believe that there was a day that you were going to have to go to the hellfire. So the man asked Jabir bin Abdullah, what are you telling the people? And look at these ayat. Jabir bin Abdullah said to the man, do you read the Quran? The man said, yes, I read the Quran. He said, did you ever hear of the Maqam al-Mahmud that Rasulullah has been given? He said, yes, I heard about it. He said, that is the ability that Allah has given him to make shifa'ah for these people who will be in the Jahannam. Then he started telling him the ahadith. And he started telling him the understanding of those ahadith. And he convinced that man and all of the people who were with him that the way of a takfir is wrong. That you can't take those ayat and just look at them with one eye and not look and consider the other ayat and not look and consider what the companions said. So he changed their minds and all of them came back to the sunnah with the exception of just one man who was killed. They went to Medina and Mecca. They met up with the ulama of al-Islam, and the ulama of al-Islam gave them directions. As for the Johnny-come-latelys in our community, we have fitan and we have problems. You can't go to the people like that to try to find out how do we fix this problem. Those are the last people you go to. They are what Rasulullah called the Ruwaybida. The Ruwaybida, the people who talk in the affairs that concern the general people and they're not the people for that. We go to the ulama of al-Islam. Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhu, this happened with the Khawarij. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud happened with those people who were in the circles in the masjid. We go to the scholars in order to solve these problems, ikhwan. The Shaykh al-Imam Abdul Muhsin rahimahullah ta'ala brought the next point that's connected to our fitting of today. And he said, point number 3 from the benefits of this hadith, tremendous benefit, is from the way of the ulama al-Rabbaniyin, like Abdullah ibn Umar, is that they give the hukum and then they give the dalil for the hukum. You want to go and you ask the Shaykh, what's the ruling about this and what's the ruling about that? He says halal, haram, mustahab, makruh. And the dalil is Allah said this, Rasulullah said that. That is the way of the Rabbaniyin. They give the hukum and then they give the dalil for the hukum. Especially in issues as it relates to this issue. When you start to claim people are deviants. You claim someone is a deviant, you have to bring the dalil for that. And the dalil can't be according to your own idea and your own hawa. Abdullah bin Umar, he said, tell those people, they asked him, what is it about these people's statement? Is it right? Is it wrong? What is it? The qadr, is it right? Is it wrong? He said, you tell those people I'm free from them and they're free from me. That statement is wrong. That's a kabira from a kaba'ir. In a narration it said that he swore by Allah and said, if one of them had the amount of gold the size of Uhud and he spent it in sadaqah, Allah won't accept it from him until he bears witness and he believes in the qadr. Your Islam is incomplete if you reject the qadr. You give sadaqah fi sabilillah, you make salah, you fast in Ramadan, you do the ibadat of al-Islam, that is incomplete until you believe in the qadr and the rest of the arkan of al-iman. So we told him, the ruling is, I'm free of those people. I don't know if they're kuffar or not, but that's a kabira from the kaba'ir. Maybe they're kuffar. I'm free of them and they're free of me. Because I heard my father, Umar radiallahu anhu, say, and then he gave the hadith. And inside of the hadith is the statement, the 6 arkan of al-iman. And in it is to believe in the qadr, to believe in the divine destiny, the divine decree. So the ulama of al-Islam, ikhwan, they give the fatwa, the hukum, and along with the hukum, there is the dalil. There's the regular person from amongst us, he doesn't understand, nor does he respect the dalil. Maybe the scholar would just tell him halal, haram, so that he can go about his business, because he doesn't understand the dalil. That is permissible, but for the people who are students of knowledge, you people, myself, we should be of those people who want people to present their evidences. The kalam of the ulama by itself is not a hujjah in al-Islam. A scholar say halal, that doesn't make something halal. He say haram, it doesn't make it haram. Al-Albani's statements by itself are not a dalil. A Shaykh ibn Baz, his statements by themselves are not a dalil. Ibn Uthaymeen's statement by itself is not a dalil, and continue. Abu Hanifa, Al-Imam Ahmed, Al-Imam Malik, the statement by itself is not a dalil. If you find a person saying, Sheikh so-and-so said this, and he wants to make you responsible, and an obligation upon you to follow that, then know for surety, Allah didn't make it an obligation upon you to follow what any scholar said because of the statement of the scholar. We follow what the dalil proves, what the dalil says. And we use the statements of the ulama in order to understand what Allah and His Messenger are saying. Now we're living in a time right now, even amongst the people of Ahlul Hadith, we live in a time in which the person says, scholar so-and-so said, and now that's an obligation upon you. And if you reject it, there's something wrong with your Islam. This is not acceptable by any stretch of the imagination, unless the person is just a muqallid because he's in the field behind a cow plowing his land. Maybe that individual is allowed to make the taqleed al-a'ma of a particular scholar without asking where is the dalil. As for people who have intellect and they have some abilities to read and understand, you have to come to know about the dalil. In addition to that, ikhwan, from the benefits of the hadith is that it is from the way of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to free themselves from the people of innovation. And I think we should take a little bit of time on this issue because we're looking for the balance as it relates to this case. Our masjid here is a masjid in which we want to raise the people and educate the people upon pure Islam, the kitab and the sunnah according to the understanding of the salaf of this ummah. It's a responsibility on the people of this masjid and the people of this dawah to take this dawah to non-Muslims. And if the non-Muslims have a right to hear this dawah, we have to take the dawah obviously to the Muslims of this city, the masajid in this city, who have false understandings of al-Islam. We don't just leave those people like that without making an effort to connect and to give dawah to those people, to give the khutbah in their masjid, to try to connect with the responsible people, to explain the dawah, to be people who have social skills, to teach other Muslims who may not understand this. Now our dawah has become a dawah that is inclusive. If you're in this masjid, if you see it the way I see it, then we are on the same page. But someone else who's not on the page that we're on, we make boycott of that individual. So that is an extreme for us to have a dawah that is inclusive. It's just for us. The other extreme is to go to every single place without having any regard for the harm that's going to be caused as a result of going to that place. Going to cooperate with people that are going to cause the other people to look and say, well, these people must be okay because Sheikh so-and-so came here or Fulan came here. We have to be able to weigh those affairs. And the middle course is what our dawah is about. We take the dawah out of the four walls of Green Lane and we take it to these other masajid under the condition that we do not compromise the kalimatul haq. Because from the way of the companions is recognizing the people of innovation and calling them out like that. Al-Imam al-Hasan al-Basri, he used to say, as it relates to the people of al-Ahwa, there is no ghiba to talk about them, to warn about them. How else are the people going to know? The Prophet himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used to warn about those people of innovation, and he used to warn about the people who fell into the sins that will be harmful to the Muslims. Aisha radiallahu anha, she narrated in Sahih Bukhari, a Muslim, that a Muslim man came to the home of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They told him, so-and-so is at the door, ya Rasulullah. He said about that man, Bitsa akhul ashira. What a terrible, evil man he is. He said that to the people who were listening. Beware of this individual who's about to come into this door. Don't do business with him. Don't marry him. Don't tell him your secrets. He's an evil man. It was a tough kalima to say about the man. Everyone heard it. The man came in and he imbasata ilayhi. He opened himself and he started smiling. How you doing? What's going on? The man left. Aisha asked, Ya Rasulullah, you said what you said at the beginning, and then the man came in and you treated him like that. Why was that? He told her, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna sharra an-nasi manzilatin inda Allahi yawm al-qiyamah man yatrukuhu an-nas ittiqa sharri. Aisha, the worst people yawm al-qiyamah are those individuals who the Muslims, the people, they try to avoid him because of his evil. You do business with him, he's going to burn you. You let him borrow money, kiss your money goodbye. So he made that statement. So that's from our religion, that we call those people out because we have the people who go overboard in the issue, and then we have those people on the other hand who say you can't mention anything evil about the people of innovation, and you don't warn the Muslims about the evil of making dua to Rasulullah, cursing the companions, believing that the pir has the ability to cure you, believing that the pir is the one who reads the ruqya upon you, or you can pay him money and he'll help you to pass the test, or he'll give you the potion in order to bring your wife back to you, or to break up your son-in-law from his wife. You have to teach the people about these issues and warn the people about those individuals. But at the same time, the Ammat Nas, who are under the yoke of oppression of people like that, it's our responsibility to let our dawah go out to be something that is being exposed to all of the people in this city. That central masjid, all of these masjids, those Muslims have a haq to know about the dawah of the kitab and the sunnah. They say, Wahhabi, Wahhabi, Wahhabi. And wallahi, ikhwan, they don't even know what is Wahhabi. Your neighbor doesn't even know what it is. You sat and you talk, he doesn't even know. So it's your job to try to explain these issues. What is our religion? I'm an ex-Wahhabi. Okay, I used to be a Wahhabi. Now I'm no longer a Wahhabi anymore. I'm on the kitab and I'm on the sunnah. I used to be a Wahhabi. That's going to help you to have a discussion. I used to be a Wahhabi. You're right, I used to be a Wahhabi. Now I've divorced it. I'm not considered Wahhabi, but I've graduated a little bit. Now I'm Quran, Sunnah. Let me explain to you what my religion is. As for the dawah of inclusiveness, it's just for us, and this is foreign to what the companions of Rasulullah were upon, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the dawah of jumping in to the stream to make the ghusl with any and everybody is also foreign. So now I got the sign, ikhwan, that we have a few minutes. We should stop here. If you guys have any questions about the aspect of the hadith that we dealt with today, the issues that we dealt with today, from what the Shaykh brought forth of the first 3 or 4 points, you can ask those questions now. Any questions, ikhwani?
Just clarify that.
When the people said, after the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, oh Allah, bless our Medina Nabawiyah, the people said, what about our Najd? Those people who say they hate Wahhabis and we're Wahhabis, they say a Najd in this hadith is talking about Najd in the Arabian Peninsula, what is now known as Saudi Arabia, the area of Riyadh and that part up there. That is not the Najd in this hadith. A Najd in the Arabic language is a place that is murtafa'. It's a place that is up, is elevated. The land that is elevated. When the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hunalika taqa'a al-fitan wal-zalazil, the narrator of the hadith said, فَأَشَارَ إِلَى الْمَشْرِقَ. He said, over in that place, the fitna is going to come and the earthquakes. The narrator said, he pointed towards the east. Riyadh is not east from Al-Medina. What's east from Medina is Al-Iraq. So the meaning of Najd in this hadith is Al-Iraq. There's a famous book, Ikhwan, that the ulama of Al-Hadith pay attention to, students of knowledge pay attention to. You want to know any place that comes in the hadith, any place that's mentioned, a Dajjal will be slaughtered at the Bab of Ludd. You want to know where that is? You go to this book. Kitab al-Buldan, the book of the cities, the places. The author of the book, he'll bring the hadith that the place is mentioned and he'll tell you where that place is based upon all of the narrations and the statements of the ulama. So the najd of this hadith is not Saudi Arabia, is not the Wahhabis, it is Al-Iraq, our Iraq, that is in the middle of the storm, the eye of the storm right now in terms of the fitna. Any more questions, ikhwani? Naam, akhuna. The scholar said, as we mentioned, that a hadith, that Islam is based upon 3 hadith, some say 4 hadith. I mentioned Imam Ahmed and Imam Shafi, Ishaq ibn Ibrahim, Rahway or Rahuya, rahimahumullah. They said that the 3 ahadith that al-Islam revolves around is إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. The second hadith, مَنْ عَمِلَ عَمَلًا لَيْسَ عَلَيْهِ أَمْرُنَا فَهُوَ رَدٌّ. The third hadith, the hadith of Nu'man ibn Bashir, إِنَّ الْحَلَالِ بَيِّن وَإِنَّ الْحَرَامِ بَيِّن. So in the first hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, it is the hadith of al-Ikhlas, at-Tawheed lillahi ta'ala. Don't make any shirk. La ilaha illallah. The second hadith of Aisha, من عمل عملا ليس عليه أمرنا فهو رد. It is the tawheed of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Following the sunnah, not doing any innovations, doing what he did and only what he did. And then the third hadith is knowing the halal in the dunya and the haram in the dunya. Doing the halal, staying away from the haram. And between those two are the gray areas. Not many people know about. Whoever leaves them alone, he saved his deen. So they said those are the three hadith. Some of the scholars said there are two hadith. Innamal a'mal biniyat is half, and the other one of Aisha, whoever does the action, is other half. Some of us said this is the Sunnah. It is the whole religion, because he said that was Jibreel, he came to teach you your deen. That the whole religion revolves around this particular hadith. Now, Akhuna.
What is a Wahhabi?
The little brother he said, what is a Wahhabi? What is a Wahhabi? Those people who say that Wahhabi, they have different interpretations of a Wahhabi. Now the media is telling us that Pakistan, they also develop Wahhabis, the Taliban or Wahhabis. Anyone who has a problem with the status quo, he wants to fight against the oppression that's set up in the system today, is a Wahhabi. Every terrorist is a Wahhabi. Whether he has a beard or he doesn't have a beard, whether he drinks khamr, he doesn't drink khamr, he's a Wahhabi. If he's a young kid who's been duped into blowing innocent people up and killing them, they're Wahhabi. He's been manipulated into believing he's going to go to Jannah if he kills innocent Jews and Muslims. He's a Wahhabi. He doesn't even know anything about Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, but they say he's a Wahhabi. They are the people who, those Muslims who usually worship graves, rocks, stones, the pir, the saints. Those Muslims who worship rocks, they go to the grave, and inside of the grave is the bones of a donkey. And they're asking the saint in the grave to help them with their issues. In the grave is the bones of a Chinese man who fell off while he was building the railroad. He fell over, broke his neck. They buried him and built a shrine over him. The Muslims go and make dua to that Chinese man and his bones. So Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab came, and he saw this was the condition of the Muslims in his environment, as it was the condition of the Muslims in many other places. And he started to tell the people, you can't do this. This is not our religion. He started to prevent the people from doing it. You can't do this. And he spoke against it. He told the people, you listening? He told the Muslims, you have to worship Allah alone. Don't be like the Christians. Don't be like the Christians who worship Jesus. Don't worship Muhammad. Only worship Allah. Muhammad is a man who died. So he started educating the Muslims. So they began to persecute him. They began to harm him. And those people who were with him, and those people who believe like him. So now someone comes and he reverts to the religion of Islam. He doesn't know anything about Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. He just says, okay, the Quran and the Sunnah and those companions, that's our religion. That's what Allah is saying in the Quran. Take your religion from this book, from the example of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from his companions. So when you mix with the Muslims from Asia, when you mix with the Muslims from Dagestan, when you mix with the Muslims from Syria, from Egypt, from Sudan, from Afghanistan, wherever you go, and you see them tying things around their arms to protect them from the evil eye, and you see them building and erecting shrines and making dua, you say, A'udhu Billah. What do you mean? You're calling on Rasulullah. The person says, you're a Wahhabi. You're a Wahhabi. Like that first man, according to them, who prevented the people from doing it. And it's an amazing issue. Hey, little man. It's an amazing issue because there's a man by the name of Abdul Qadir al-Jailani, al-Hanbali, rahimahullah. They raised this man up. Way before Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, he used to tell the people, don't do this, don't do that, don't worship this, don't worship that. And Rasulullah himself said it, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Any more questions, Ikhwani? We're going to stop here, inshaAllah ta'ala. And we ask Allah Ta'ala, as I say, for al-ikhlas in our ibadat, in our Islam, and to give us the tawfiq and the talab. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.